My beloved one, come and sit with me in the quiet of this moment. I want to speak to you about the most reliable, the most constant, and the most hopeful law in all of creation. A law that governs not just fields of grain, but the very fields of your heart, your relationships, and your destiny. It is the divine law of sowing and reaping. Before you can understand the beautiful cycle of generosity, you must understand this. Your life is a field, and in every moment, with every thought, word, and deed, you are planting seeds. This is not a metaphor. It is a spiritual reality as concrete as the law of gravity. Do not be deceived, my word says. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. This is the unwavering principle upon which my universe is built. It means nothing in your life is accidental or disconnected. The harvest you are experiencing today, whether of joy or weariness, peace or anxiety, abundance or strain, is the direct result of seeds you planted yesterday, last month, or even years ago. Let me break this law down for you, not as a burden, but as a key to tremendous freedom. First, you reap what you sow. This is the law of correspondence. The seed determines the crop. You cannot plant an apple seed and expect to harvest oranges. You cannot plant seeds of criticism and bitterness and expect to harvest a relationship filled with love and respect. You cannot plant seeds of fear and withholding and expect to harvest a life of abundance and provision. Look closely at your life's garden right now. What is growing? That will tell you exactly what you have been planting. If you see weeds of discord, you have sown words of gossip or division. If you see the beautiful fruit of peace, you have sown prayers of surrender and choices of forgiveness. Your harvest is a perfect mirror of your seeds. Second, you reap later than you sow. This is the law of process and patience. There is always a gap between planting and harvest. This gap is the season of faith. It is the hidden time when the seed, buried in the dark soil, seems dead and lost. It is the time when you must trust the law is working, even when you see no evidence. This delay is not denial. It is divine incubation. I am using that time to develop roots you cannot see, to draw nutrients from the soil of your character, and to prepare you to handle the harvest when it comes. Impatience in this season can lead you to dig up the seed, to abandon the field, or to declare the law a lie. But I assure you, the harvest is coming. Do not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time you will reap if you do not give up. Third, you reap more than you sow. This is the law of multiplication. One single kernel of corn produces a stalk with multiple ears, each bearing hundreds of new kernels. This is my principle of increase. Your small act of kindness is not a solitary event. It is a seed that contains a whole orchard of blessing. A gentle word can change the atmosphere of a home for a week. A financial seed given in faith can break a generational spirit of poverty. A decision to forgive can release healing that flows through a family for decades. You are not just giving away a portion. You are investing in a multiplied return. This is why faith-filled giving is never a loss. It is a strategic planting for a future you cannot yet imagine. This law is impersonal in its operation, but deeply personal in my application. It works for good or for ill. That is why it is a solemn responsibility and a glorious hope. It means you are not a victim of fate. You are a farmer of your own future. The circumstances you face today may have been planted by others or by your past self, but from this moment forward, you choose your seeds. You have the power, by my Spirit, to begin planting a new crop today. So, what seeds are in your hand right now? The seed of your words. Will you sow life or death, encouragement or criticism? The seed of your time. Will you sow into others' lives or only into your own entertainment? The seed of your finances. Will you sow into my kingdom or clutch it in fear? The seed of your attitude. Will you sow gratitude or grumbling, faith or fear? The cycle of giving and receiving begins with this conscious, deliberate act of sowing. Giving is sowing, and sowing is an act of faith in me, the Lord of the harvest, who guarantees the law. Do not look at the size of your seed and despair. Do not look at the barrenness of your current field and lose heart. Look at me. Look at my faithfulness. I created this law, and I will honor it in your life as you align with it. Start today. Plant one good seed. Plant it in the confidence that this law is more reliable than the rising sun. For I am watching over my word to perform it. Your harvest is assured. My precious one, now that you understand the law of the seed, we must journey inward, to the sacred ground where all sowing begins, the soil of your own heart. For your hand will only sow what your heart truly believes. And today, I must speak to you about the great enemy of generosity, the silent saboteur of the cycle, the scarcity mindset. It is the deep-seated, often unspoken belief that says, there is not enough. What I have is limited. If I give, I will have less. I must hold on tightly to survive. This mindset is a prison, my child, and I have come to set you free from it. Look around you. The world's entire system is built on this lie of scarcity. It teaches you to compare, to compete, to accumulate, and to live in a state of low-grade anxiety that you might run out, of money, of time, of love, of opportunities. This fear has woven itself into the fabric of your thinking. It makes you see life through a lens of lack, where every need is a threat and every gift given is a loss. But today, I tell you, this is not your inheritance. This is not the air I created you to breathe. I am El Shaddai, the God who is more than enough. My nature is abundance. My creativity is limitless. My storehouses are infinite. Look at my creation. Do I count the stars? Do I ration the sunlight? Does the ocean fear it will run out of water? I pour out life with a lavish hand. I am a fountain, not a faucet that drips reluctantly. The scarcity mindset is a direct contradiction to who I am. And since you are my child, made in my image, it is a contradiction to who you are meant to be. This mindset manifests in subtle ways. It's the hesitation before giving, the internal calculation of cost, the resentment when your generosity isn't reciprocated, the fear of an uncertain future that leads you to hoard your resources. It's the voice that says, once I have more, then I'll be generous. It keeps your fists clenched and your heart small. It breaks the cycle before it can even begin, because a heart governed by scarcity cannot sow in faith. And without faith, it is impossible to please me. But I desire to transplant your heart from the barren soil of never enough to the fertile plains of more than enough. This begins with a renewal of your mind. You must let my truth dismantle the lie, brick by brick. The truth is, you are not a reservoir, you are a river. A reservoir's purpose is to store, to hold, to keep. Its value is in what it retains, but a river's purpose is to flow, to give, to move. Its value is in what it carries to thirsty lands downstream. A reservoir can become stagnant. A river is always fresh, always alive. I have called you to be a river of living water, not a stagnant pond of accumulated blessings. The scarcity mindset tries to make you a reservoir, anxiously measuring your levels. The abundance mindset knows you are a river, connected to an eternal spring. Breaking this mindset requires a deliberate, faith-filled rebellion against fear. It means you will sow a seed when it feels risky. You will give kindness when you have received none. You will celebrate another's blessing when your own field looks bare. You will do this not because the evidence supports it, but because my character guarantees it. You are not trusting in the seed. You are trusting in the sower of all seeds. You are not relying on your own limited supply. You are tapping into my limitless one. This is where the heart of the sower is forged. In the moment, your obedience to give collides with your fear of lack. In that collision, you have a choice: to heed the old, familiar voice of scarcity, or to listen to my gentle whisper that says, I am your provider. Trust me. Each time you choose trust, you weaken the stronghold of scarcity. Each time you give and see that I am faithful to sustain you, your heart expands. You begin to understand that I am not asking you to give from your resources, but to give in partnership with my endless provision. I illustrated this with the widow of Zarephath. In the midst of a famine, with only a handful of flour and a little oil left, the very definition of scarcity, I asked her to give first. To make a meal for my prophet Elijah. Her act of giving from her last meal was the ultimate defiance of the scarcity mindset. And what happened? The jar of flour was not used up, and the jug of oil did not run dry. She gave from a place of lack, and I provided from a place of abundance. The cycle began with her heart's decision to trust me more than her eyes. My beloved, examine your heart today. Where is the scarcity mindset hiding? Is it in your finances, your time, your affections, your forgiveness? Bring that specific area to me. Now I ask you to perform a prophetic act of breaking its power. Give something in that very area. It doesn't have to be large. It must be meaningful. Give time when you feel you have none. Give a word of affirmation when you feel empty. Give a portion of your finances when the numbers look tight. Do it as an act of war. Do it as a declaration. My God is more than enough. I am a river, not a reservoir. I break the power of lack over my life by the blood of Jesus and the principle of sowing. As you do this, watch. Watch how I uphold you. Watch how I replenish you in ways you cannot predict. The return may not always be identical currency. It may be peace. It may be a divine idea. It may be a restored relationship. But I will confirm your faith. I will prove myself faithful. Your heart is the key to the cycle. A heart bound by scarcity locks the storehouse. A heart liberated by abundance unlocks the floodgates of heaven. Let me transform your heart, my precious sower. Let me make it a heart like mine, a heart that gives and gives and gives, because it knows the source of all things is inexhaustible love. My beloved child, now we come to the sacred practice that activates the cycle at its highest level, the moment where principle becomes worship, where trust becomes tangible, where your relationship with me moves from theory to embodied devotion. This is the first fruit faith. It is the conscious, deliberate choice to give not from your surplus, not from your leftovers, but from the very first and finest of what you receive. It is the practice that declares with your actions what your lips profess. Everything I have comes from you, and you are my first priority. From the dawn of our relationship with humanity, I established this pattern. Abel brought the fat portions from the firstborn of his flock. My people Israel were commanded to bring the first sheaf of harvest, the firstborn of their flocks, the first of their dough to the temple. Why? Not because I needed their grain or their lambs. I own every field and every flock on 1,000 hills. No, it was for them. It was to train their hearts, and now to train yours, in the foundational truth of source recognition. The world teaches you to take your increase and first pay your debts, secure your comforts, invest in your future, and then, if anything remains, to consider giving. This logic seems wise, prudent, responsible, but it establishes a dangerous order. It makes you and your needs the primary focus, and makes me an afterthought. The first fruit principle revolutionizes this order. It says, before I do anything else, I will honor the source. Before I feed my fears, I will feed my faith. Before I calculate my security, I will demonstrate my trust. Let me show you the profound spiritual dynamics at work in this act of first fruit faith. First, it is an act of worshipful priority. When you take the first portion of your income, the first hour of your day, the first energy of your creativity, and consciously offer it to me, You are doing far more than transferring resources. You are enacting a spiritual ceremony. You are bowing the knee of your heart and saying, God, you are first, not my bills, not my anxieties, not my plans. You. My life is built around you, not around my provisions. This act dethrones the idol of self-sufficiency. It breaks the power of mammon. The spirit that whispers your security lies in what you hold. By giving first, you declare that your true security lies in the hand of the giver. Second, it is an act of prophetic trust. First fruit giving feels like risk. To the natural mind, it seems to create a deficit. If I give this first, what will be left for the rest? This is exactly where faith is born. You are prophesying with your actions. My God will provide for all the rest. He is faithful to the 100% because I have been faithful with the first part. You are walking out the truth that your life is not a mathematical equation to be solved, but a covenant relationship to be enjoyed. You are not testing me. You are trusting me. And I honor that trust. When you honor me with your first fruits, you are not giving something away. You are investing the whole harvest under my blessing and protection. Honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vats will brim over with new wine. The overflowing is not a transactional payment. It is the covenant blessing on a heart that has put me first. Third, it is an act of consecration. In my ancient law, when the first sheaf was offered, the entire harvest that followed was considered holy, acceptable, and blessed. By giving the first part, you set apart the whole. You sanctify your entire paycheck, your entire project, your entire season. You are saying, Lord, this entire portion of my life is yours. Use it, bless it, direct it. Your work becomes worship. Your budget becomes a ministry document. Your time becomes sacred space. The mundane is transformed because you have acknowledged its true owner at the outset. My precious one, this principle extends far beyond finances. First fruit faith is a lifestyle. It is about the posture of your heart in all things. Give me the first fruits of your morning, those initial quiet moments before the day's demands shout for attention. This consecrates your time. Give me the first fruits of your talent, the best of your creativity, your skill, your effort, offered as a work of worship. This sanctifies your labor. Give me the first fruits of your relationships, the first intention to forgive, to listen, to serve, before pride sets in. This invites my presence into your connections. Give me the first fruits of your joy, the first impulse to thank me when blessing comes, rather than simply enjoying the gift. This cultivates gratitude. The enemy will fight you on this. He will amplify the voice of lack when you set aside that first portion. He will bring urgent needs to mind, hoping you will bypass this act of worship for the sake of practicality. But you must understand, the first fruit offering is the most practical thing you can do. It is the spiritual strategy that aligns your entire life with the flow of my blessing. It ensures the pipeline is clear, the connection is strong, and the priority is right. I challenge you today. Identify the area where you feel the greatest anxiety about enough. Is it your finances, your time, your emotional capacity? That is the very ground where I am calling you to practice first fruit faith. Take a step that feels like a risk. Offer the first part to me. Do it with a prayer. Lord, this represents my trust in you as my source. I give this first, honoring you. I trust you with all that follows. Then, watch. Watch how I honor your faith. Watch how the remaining 90% stretches further than the 100% ever did on its own. Watch how peace guards your heart when bills come due. Watch how time seems to expand when you've given me the first minutes. You are not just giving. You are setting a spiritual principle in motion. You are activating the covenant promise of provision and blessing. The first fruit giver does not live in uncertainty. They live in covenant certainty. They know the order is secure. God first, then everything else finds its proper place. This is the faith that pleases me. This is the faith that unlocks the storehouses. Bring me your first. Honor the source. And step confidently into the cycle of blessing that flows from a heart that knows, truly knows, who supplies every need according to his glorious riches. My precious child, we have spoken of seeds, of hearts, and of first fruits. Now I want to expand your vision of the very currency we trade in. You have been conditioned to think of giving and receiving in terms of what you can hold in your hand, coins, notes, material gifts. But I tell you, the most powerful transactions in my kingdom are conducted with a different wealth. The true currency of heaven is not minted in gold, but forged in the heart. It is the wealth of time, the treasure of compassion, the boundless reserves of forgiveness, and the sacred offering of presence. When you learn to give in this currency, you step into the full flow of my economy. Consider my own son when he walked your earth. Did he carry a purse of gold to solve every problem? No. His greatest miracles were performed with the currency of heaven. To the weary, he gave rest. To the sick, he gave touch and attention. To the guilty, he gave forgiveness. To the lonely, he gave companionship. To the grieving, he gave tears. He invested hours listening to one searching heart when crowds pressed in. He saw the invisible person in the crowd and stopped everything to honor them. He paid the debt of sin not with coins, but with blood, the ultimate non-material currency of sacrificial love. This is how my kingdom operates. The material is only a shadow. The spiritual is the substance. Why do I elevate these intangible gifts? Because they carry the very essence of relationship. Money can buy a meal, but only time and attention can say, "You matter to me." Medicine can treat a body, but only compassionate presence can heal a soul. Justice can settle a score, but only forgiveness can restore a bond. When you give these heavenly currencies, you are not just meeting a need, you are imparting a piece of my heart. You are making the invisible God visible. You are translating my love into a language the human spirit can understand. Let me define these currencies for you. The currency of time. In an age of distraction, your undivided, unrushed time is a staggering gift. It is the living proof that someone is more important than a schedule. When you put down your device, make eye contact, and truly listen, you are giving a portion of your life. You are saying, "My minutes are yours because you are valuable." This currency is rare and precious. Sow it generously, the currency of compassion. This is empathy in action. It is the choice to feel with someone, to enter their emotional world without judgment, and to offer the warmth of understanding. It is the tear you share, the sigh you echo, the silent hug that says, "Your pain is valid and you are not alone." Compassion bridges isolation. It is a healing balm that no pharmacy can dispense. The currency of forgiveness. This is the nuclear power of my kingdom. It is the deliberate decision to cancel a debt that justice says is owed to you. When you forgive, you release poison from your own soul and offer the offender a chance at new life. You are not saying the hurt didn't matter. You are saying that love matters more. Forgiveness breaks chains, your chains and theirs. It is the ultimate act of liberation, and it mirrors my heart for you. The currency of encouragement. Your words have creative power. They can build worlds or destroy them. To use your words to affirm, to bless, to speak life over someone's fears and dreams, this is to trade in the currency of prophecy. You are calling forth the hidden gold in another's spirit. You are helping them see themselves as I see them. The beautiful truth is this: everyone is a billionaire in these currencies. You may feel you have little money to give, but you have a wealth of attention, a treasury of kind words, an endless line of credit in forgiveness, and a deep well of compassion. You are not poor. You are unimaginably rich in what matters most to the human heart, and the cycle holds true here as well. When you sow these heavenly currencies, you reap a harvest in kind. Give time, and you will find time expands or becomes more meaningful. Sow compassion, and you will find understanding returning to you in your hour of need. Forgive freely, and you will walk in a profound personal freedom and lightness. Speak life, and your own spirit will be watered. So today, my beloved millionaire of the spirit, look at your daily interactions as divine trading floors. The person serving you coffee? Pay them with the currency of a genuine smile and a word of thanks. It may be the only tip their soul receives today. The family member who irritates you? Pay them with the currency of patience and a gentle response. The friend who shares a burden? Pay them with the currency of listening without immediately offering a solution. The one who wronged you? Pay them with the costly, powerful currency of forgiveness. Do not underestimate the impact of these trades. A single moment of true attention can alter the course of a life. A sentence of heartfelt encouragement can fortify a soul for a decade of battle. An act of forgiveness can shatter a generational curse. You are my banker, my broker of grace in a bankrupt world. Carry these currencies with you everywhere. Be lavish. Be reckless in your generosity with them. For unlike money, the more you give these away, the more you seem to possess. Their value increases with circulation. Give, not just from your wallet, but from your soul. This is the giving that returns to you as joy, as peace, as depth of relationship, and as a heart that beats in sync with mine. This is the currency that never devalues, that survives every market crash, and that funds the eternal work of love. Now go. The world is waiting for your rich, heavenly deposits. My beloved child, come closer now. We must speak of the most challenging yet most sacred space within the cycle, the space between the sowing and the reaping, the space of waiting, the space where what you have planted is hidden, silent, and unseen. This is the season of the hidden harvest. It is here that your faith is refined, your character is forged, and your understanding of my ways is deepened beyond measure. For the return on your generosity seldom follows a human schedule or assumes an expected form. To live in the cycle, you must learn to trust not only the law, but the lawgiver, my perfect timing and my infinite creativity in bringing the harvest to pass. You have sown your seed, whether of finance, kindness, forgiveness, or time. You have opened your hand and released it in faith, and now you stand looking at the ground, waiting for the green shoot to appear. Days pass, weeks pass, perhaps even seasons pass. The soil remains unchanged to your eyes, and the whisper of the enemy grows loud. Nothing is happening. Your seed was wasted. The law has failed. God has forgotten. This, my precious one, is the critical juncture. This is where many abandon the field, believing the lie that nothing is growing simply because they cannot yet see it. But I tell you the truth. The most vital growth happens underground, unseen. Before the seed can break the surface, it must first break itself open. It must surrender its form as a seed to become something entirely new, a root, a stem, a leaf. This process is hidden in darkness. It is a holy dissolution. Your seed of generosity undergoes a similar transformation in the unseen realm. When you give, it is not stored in a heavenly account to be returned like for like. It enters a process of divine alchemy. I take your act of obedience and faith, and I begin to work it into the tapestry of your life and the lives of others in ways your linear mind could never plot. This is why you must release your expectations of how and when the harvest will come. My methods are not yours. My economy is not bound by your calendars or your limited imagination. The widow of Zarephath gave her last meal, and her return was not a sudden delivery of 100 sacks of flour. It was a daily, miraculous sustenance, the jar of flour that was not used up and the jug of oil that did not run dry. The harvest was not an event. It was a sustained, faithful provision that met her need day by day. Your return may not be a sudden windfall. It may be a supernatural durability, a resilience, a peace that stretches your resources in ways that defy logic. Or consider the boy with 5 loaves and 2 fish. He gave his small lunch. The return was not a larger personal lunch the next day. It was the joy of participating in a miracle that fed thousands. His harvest was the awe of seeing my power multiply his offering beyond any selfish need. Your seed may return as the privilege of witnessing transformation in someone else's life, a joy that fills your own soul to overflowing. The hidden harvest is also the season where I cultivate you. While you wait for an external return, I am producing an internal yield. I am growing in you the fruit of patience, teaching you to trust my character over your circumstances. I am deepening your faith, forcing its roots to drive down deep into the bedrock of my promises, because the surface soil of quick results has dried up. I am pruning your entitlement, the subtle belief that your obedience obligates me to perform on your terms. This internal harvest, this transformation of your spirit, is often the primary and most precious return on your giving. A peaceful, patient, trusting heart is worth more than any material abundance. So, how do you navigate this hidden season? How do you stand in faith when the field looks barren? First, worship in the waiting. Shift your focus from the unbroken soil to the faithfulness of the farmer. Praise me not for the harvest you see, but for the harvest you trust is coming. Thanksgiving in advance is the language of mature faith. It declares that you believe my promise more than you believe the empty field. Second, tend the ground of your heart. Protect the seed from the birds of cynicism and the weeds of comparison. Do not let bitterness or envy take root because someone else's field seems to sprout faster. Their season and their seed are different. Your assignment is faithfulness to your own field. Third, remember past harvests. Recall the times I have been faithful before. Keep a record of my providence. When doubt whispers, "Will he do it this time?" remind your soul, he has done it before. His character is unchanged. Your history with me is the anchor for your present trust. Fourth, be a steward of the in-between. The hidden season is not a passive time. It is a time for weeding, for watering with prayer, for protecting with hope. Continue to live generously. Continue to sow, even as you wait for a previous harvest. This demonstrates that your trust is in me, the source, and not in the immediate return of a single seed. My timing is perfect. It is never late, though it often feels late to your hurried heart. I wait until the conditions are right, until your character is ready, until the needs of others align, until the testimony will bring maximum glory to my name. The harvest that comes in its appointed time is always superior to the one you could have forced in your own strength. Beloved, do not interpret the silence as absence. Do not mistake the waiting for waste. The hidden harvest is where I do my most profound work. Your seed is safe. The law is in motion. And I am orchestrating a return that will not only meet your need, but will also surprise you with its goodness, its timeliness, and its perfect fit for the person you have become in the waiting. Trust the process you cannot see. Trust the farmer you know. The harvest is assured. And when it breaks through the soil, you will understand why the hidden time was a necessary, sacred gift. My precious one, we have journeyed through the principles, the heart postures, and the seasons of waiting. Now, I call you to the culmination of it all, not as a theory, but as a breathing, walking, living reality. This is the call to adopt the open-hand lifestyle. It is the decision to move beyond occasional acts of generosity and to inhabit a perpetual posture of release and reception. It is to make your entire life a conduit, where your hand is never clenched in fear, but always open, ready to give freely and ready to receive gratefully. This is how you create a continuous, unbroken flow of my grace in your life. Look at your hand. When it is clenched into a fist, it is strong, yes, but it is closed. It can strike, it can defend, it can cling, but it cannot give, and it cannot receive. A fist is a fortress, but it is also a prison. Now open your hand. See how vulnerable it becomes? It is exposed. It can offer, it can hold, it can release. An open hand is an instrument of relationship. This simple physical truth is a profound spiritual reality. Your inner posture directly controls the flow of my blessing in your life. The world teaches you to make a fist, to hold tightly to your money, your time, your affections, your rights, your plans. It says, secure what is yours, build walls, protect yourself. This clenched fist living is exhausting. It fills your days with anxiety and your heart with scarcity. But I am calling you to a revolution of the spirit, to live with hands wide open. This is not a posture of poverty. It is the posture of perfect trust. It says, my Father owns everything. I am not an owner, clinging to my little plot. I am a steward in his vast estate, and my hands are open to distribute what he provides and to receive what he sends. This open-hand lifestyle manifests in 3 continuous motions. First, the motion of conscious release. This is giving as breath, not as event. It is the constant, prayerful awareness of what you have been entrusted with, and the willingness to let it go when love prompts you. It is tipping generously, not out of obligation, but as a blessing. It is giving your time to listen, even when your schedule screams. It is releasing forgiveness the moment offense tries to take root. It is letting go of control over outcomes and surrendering them to me. Each release is a spiritual exhalation. It creates space. It says, this was yours all along. I trusted it with an open hand, and I release it with an open hand. Second, the motion of expectant reception. An open hand is not only for giving, it is turned upward to receive. This is the childlike faith that believes I am always good, always giving, always pouring out blessing. It is waking up each morning with your spirit's palm turned toward heaven saying, Father, what grace do you have for me today? I am ready to receive your guidance, your provision, your peace. You receive the sunrise as a gift. You receive a kind word as manna. You receive a closed door as my protection. You receive an unexpected provision as my personal note of love. An open hand receives everything, the seemingly good and the seemingly difficult, as a trustable gift from a loving Father. Third, the motion of continuous circulation. This is where the lifestyle becomes a flow. You receive, you give thanks, you release a portion, you create space, you receive again. It is a cycle without a hard start or stop. Like a healthy heart, it continuously draws in and sends out. You become a living channel. The water does not stagnate within you. It flows through you. This is the secret to avoiding both the pride of accumulation and the burnout of endless output. You are not the source. You are the conduit. The pressure is off. Your only job is to keep the channel clear and open. But how practically do you cultivate this? Start with your first waking thought. Before you clutch the day's anxieties, open the hand of your heart. Whisper, I receive your mercy new this morning. My day is in your open hand. Practice micro-releases throughout the day. Let go of a grudge on your commute. Release a few dollars to a cause as you pay a bill. Surrender a worry each time you feel your spirit clench. End the day with open-handed thanksgiving. Review the hours and acknowledge every good thing as a gift received. This seals the cycle in gratitude. The open-hand lifestyle breaks the power of idolatry. You cannot cling to an idol with an open hand. It breaks the power of fear. Fear says, clench tighter. Faith says, He holds me, so my hands are free to be open. It ushers you into a life of surprising joy and divine synchronicity, where you are constantly surprised by my provision at the very moment you choose to release. This is the lifestyle of my son. His hands were always open, open to heal, to bless, to break bread, to be nailed open in the ultimate act of release. And because his hands were eternally open, the floodgates of heaven were opened forever for you. So today, my child, unclench. Finger by finger, prayer by prayer. Unclench your grip on your reputation, your finances, your loved ones, your future. Hold it all before me in open palms. This is not losing control. It is placing everything into the only hands that can truly hold it, without breaking it, my hands. Live open. Give open. Receive open. Let your life be a testament to the truth that in my kingdom, the safest place for anything you value is in an open hand, held upward in trust to me. The flow is waiting. The cycle is eternal. Open your hands and let it begin. My beloved child, we have walked a sacred path together. From the first seed of understanding to the open hand of surrender, we have traced the contours of a truth as ancient as my being and as fresh as this very breath. Now, as we come to the close of our journey, I invite you to see not an end, but a seamless beginning. This final point is not a destination, but a doorway. It is the revelation that you are no longer merely a participant in the cycle of giving and receiving. You are called to become the cycle itself, to move from observing a principle to embodying a reality, to let this rhythm so fuse with your spirit that your very life becomes an eternal, breathing expression of my generous heart. This is the great transition, from a learner of the flow to a living manifestation of the flow. Think of a single drop of water. At first it is separate. It can be held, studied, contained. But when it merges with a river, it loses its isolated identity. It becomes part of the river's motion. It moves with the current, gives itself to the stream, and is carried toward the ocean. It is no longer a drop in the river. It is the river, expressing itself in that particular place and moment. This, my precious one, is your calling. I am not teaching you how to handle occasional drops of blessing. I'm inviting you to merge with the river of life, to become so one with its current that giving and receiving are no longer actions you perform, but the very essence of your being, as natural and unconscious as the river's flow. When you reach this place, several eternal shifts occur within you. First, your identity transforms from giver or receiver to conduit. A giver can grow weary. A receiver can become entitled. But a conduit knows only the joy of transmission. It does not originate the water. It simply provides a clear, unobstructed path for it. Your identity becomes rooted, not in what passes through you, but in the profound honor of being connected to the source. Your sense of self-worth detaches from your possessions and attaches to your purpose, to be a clean, open channel for my grace. You find a deep, unshakable satisfaction, not in the size of the gift you give, but in the fact that you were used as the delivery system for my love. The hunger for credit dies. The need for recognition fades. The only applause you seek is my whispered, "Well done." Second, the cycle ceases to be linear and becomes spherical. You move beyond the idea of first I give, then later I receive. In the eternal flow, giving is receiving, and receiving is giving in the same eternal moment. The joy you feel when you bless another is the immediate, spiritual harvest. The peace that floods you when you release control is the return on that surrender. The love that expands your heart when you forgive is the dividend paid in real time. The material or circumstantial harvest that comes later is simply the visible echo of a spiritual transaction that was already complete in the unseen. You begin to live in the continuous now of grace, where every act of faith is its own reward, and every open hand is instantly filled with the peace of obedience. Third, the motivation permanently shifts from fear to love. In the beginning, you may have given to ensure a return, to obey a command, or to break a mindset of lack. These are good and necessary steps. But in the eternal cycle, the only engine is love. Perfect love casts out all fear. Fear of scarcity, fear of injustice, fear of running dry. You give because you are loved, and love must give. It is the nature of a full heart to overflow. You become like a spring whose water is sweet and endless, not because it calculates how much it can spare, but because its nature is to flow. You give without calculation, because you are connected to the infinite. You love without reserve because you are tapped into the source of love itself. This is the life I have always dreamed for you. Not a life of religious transaction, but a life of relational fusion. You in me, and I in you. My resources flowing through your hands. My compassion speaking through your lips. My wisdom guiding your choices. The cycle is no longer something you manage. It is the atmosphere you inhabit. It is the new spiritual gravity of your life. So how do you step into this eternal reality? You abide. You remain in my love. You stay connected to the vine. You let my words live in you. You practice the presence of the flow until it becomes your primary reality. You make your daily prayer. Father, not my will, but yours be done with all that I am and all that I have. Flow through me. Love through me. Be generous through me. Let my life be a clear, clean channel for your eternal cycle of grace. And as you do, you will find that the boundaries of your own life begin to blur into something larger, something eternal. Your small story merges with the great story of redemption. Your acts of kindness become threads in the tapestry of my kingdom. The blessings that flow through you will touch lives you will never meet on this earth, and the echoes of your faithfulness will ripple into eternity. You are no longer just a traveler on the path of generosity. You have become the path. You are no longer just a vessel holding water. You have become part of the river itself. This is your destiny, my child, to be a living, breathing, loving manifestation of the eternal cycle, to be so lost in the flow of my grace that you are found forever. Go now. Not to try harder, but to abide deeper. Not to give more, but to love more fully. The cycle is within you and around you. It is now. It is eternal. Merge with the flow. Become the blessing. You are home.